Hey everybody, it's Angelo with Angelo's Workbench. Welcome back to the final video in the how to build a 3D printed kit with the 2024 Mustang Darkhorse. So I am in the midst of painting parts. And one of the things that has been, that I have discovered, which is extremely convenient, is because this is 3D printing and you're printing your own stuff, you know, if you have a snafu on a body, you just print another one. You know, there's no purple pond. Now, that's not actually what happened here. This is the first one, the one that I printed in 2 pieces and assembled. And this is one that I printed after my new printer showed up. And I discovered that I can't use a power sander on this because I end up with this. You have to sand them by hand. I've discovered that. I just was experimenting. Because I could print multiple bodies. I could print as many bodies as I want. So this one is not going to be used. That one will be thrown away. This is the first one I printed, the one that was attached. You can see where I attached it and glued it. And it looks fantastic. It's ready for clear coat. This color is a very interesting color. This is a one-off that I came up with. This is a combination of black, blue, purple, and graphite, and I am in love with the color. I think it's fantastic. Let's talk about clear parts. So my experimentations with clear resin have not gone well. I have been able to successfully print with the 3D resin, the clear resin, because at first the clear resin wasn't working. And I'm looking over here for my clear plastic. Here we go. At first the clear parts wasn't working. I could only get them to print in the black resin. But then I finally figured it out with some experimenting and switching of resins. I was able to get clear resin print out, but that's as clear as it gets. Even tried sanding it, dipping it in future. Like, this is all I could come up with. So I have these things, which I get in Hobby Lobby for $5 for a box of 6. And what these are is big, clear plastic packages that, like, you put cookies in after you make them or whatever. It's just a clear plastic container. Well, what it is basically is huge sheets of clear plastic that is flexible. This is very similar to what comes in the resin kits. So I will handily, I have a template, and I will just cut this out, and that's how I'm going to get my glass. And I can paint a black, like, trim on it. This will be very similar to what comes in, like, the Alpha kits and, like, the Model Factory Hero kits. They have the clear windows that are just, you know, flat, and then you just have to kind of bend them and glue them in, and that's what I'm going to do. So that's how I'm going to come up with clear glass. I may not put side windows in, just because I like the idea of having the windows down on a nice summer day, going for a cruise, but I will definitely have back windows, and the back window, and definitely a windshield. So, so those will get trimmed and cut out. I'm just getting ready to spray the tires flat black. I've got a whole bunch of parts here in primer. The wheels are done. They are in a graphite, and they look beautiful. The wheels look so nice. And then I've got parts like the chassis over here in primer, because I plan to do this in black, and then I'm going to do these 2 parts silver, mask off and spray those. Just have a little bit of visual interest on this underside. And then this, I'm not even going to bother to paint because no one's ever going to see it. You know, it's going to be covered by the body. And then the interior tub goes here. Speaking of the interior tub has been primed, and it is ready for paint and detailing. I'm going with a black interior on this car, and then the body, of course, is ready for clear. After I clear coat it, then I will detail it. I like to get the clear on because this is a water-based paint. Once I get the clear on, I can wet sand, polish, and then I can mask off and do all my trims with an acrylic-based paint so that any mistakes just wipe right off the clear coat, no problem. So that's where we're at here. I'm going to go back to work doing some spraying, and we'll be back. So here's where I am with the Mustang project. I have the body done, pretty much. It's in clear coat. There's still a little bit of the 3D texturing that you can see through. I didn't think you were going to, but you can. But this is good enough. I like it the way it is. And I could have sanded it a little more, and I will do that next time I do a 3D printed body. But I have the nose done. I have the headlights done with the little LEDs I did with a chrome pen. Same thing with the Prancing Horse logo on the front. It has such a mean looking stance. And I did a gray. I still have to do some black down here. I've done black in the back here. The stripe is basically a copy of one of the stripes that's available on the 2024 Mustang Darkhorse. And the color is kind of a representation of it too. So I'm really excited about how this came out. This is looking awesome. I have the taillights hand painted and ready to be installed in the body. I've got a little spoiler here. I've got some side view mirrors here that are ready to go on the car. He actually, they are pinned. They have a pin and then there's a small hole in the body. I didn't realize that. And when I printed them, I cut the pin off thinking it was one of my supports. So that's on me. But I will still crazy glue it on and it will be fine. But if you print it correctly, the way he designed it, it's pinned and it goes into a little tiny hole that's in the body. It's marvelous. This is so well designed. I can't go on about how great this is, this kit. And then here is the spoiler, which I will glue on, and that's going to look fantastic in that graphite gray color. I've also got the chassis done. That's awesome. I've got the chassis done here, ready to go. I have the brake calipers. The brake calipers are a really cool shade of blue on the car. So I painted them blue. Where are they? Here they are. So I painted them blue. The wheels are done in a graphite color, which is what I planned on doing. And the wheel center caps are here in a chrome. And I've got the brake rotors done in a silver. So the only thing that is left for me to do is the interior has some two-tone on the seats, a blue. So I'm going to mask off and figure out how to do that two-tone with the blue. I'm thinking I'm going to keep the centers black and do the outside in blue. That's what they do with the Recaro buckets, according to my research online. The dash is going to stay all black with a little silver, and I'm going to print out a decal of a big, huge gauge cluster and get that going. The steering wheel, I think I'm going to do some blue on it as well. There's a couple. It's got a flat. It's a really cool steering wheel, and he replicated it so well. So I think it's a black in the center and then some blue in the outer rim. I'll mask and spray that. Same thing with here. I'll mask and do blue on the seats somehow. The rest of the interior is going to stay black. I have created glass. Basically, I just took the template and traced it onto clear plastic, and I will install that as a windshield. And I did the front window, the back window, and the two side windows. I did not do the two rear side windows. I did not do the door windows. Because the windows are down on my car, and that's the way I want it. So that you can see the interior and see the color change in the interior and have it looking nice. So that's my plan. So now I'm ready to do some assembly. So I have mounted the axles to the chassis. I did a little test fitting with the body. And one of the things I like about the way he does this, it is basically just a flat back on the wheel, and it just glues onto here. But what you've got is you've got several mils of play to adjust ride height. So I'm going to wait until I have the interior done and I can mount the body to the chassis. And then I'm going to put the wheels where I want them, because I might want it to be lowered a little. I don't want it slammed to the ground, but I also don't want it riding in the stars either. I think the ride height, even if you centered them, is very good. But I might want to lower it just a couple scale inches. And it's very easy to do that with this because it's just basically you just glue it where you want it, and it doesn't have to be centered. And it'll be all about stance, and it'll look fantastic. So this is in the home stretch. I mean, I could literally, once I mask off and spray the interior, I could glue this whole rest of this thing together in no time. And so that is my plan. I will bring you back for assembly, and maybe some painting of the interior, and we'll talk soon. Okay, so I downloaded some pictures of Mustang dashboard, and I had a picture of the gauge cluster and a picture of the navigation screen, and I kind of pushed them together to meet up with what's on here. I measured this. It's, you know, a half an inch, or excuse me, a quarter of an inch? Is it a quarter of an inch? I don't remember. It's a quarter. It's a quarter, and then one was half an inch, and then one was 5/8. And so I just resized them in my favorite word processing program. And now this is ready to go. Now I want to make it look shiny, because obviously the dashboard would have a gloss to it, and this is a flat. So we're going to do this in a very high-tech way. I'm going to take some clear Scotch tape, and I'm going to apply it just like that. And I'm making more than one in the just as out of good measure, just in case, you know. So there is that one, and then I am going to attach these with crazy glue, and so that the crazy glue doesn't penetrate the paper and mess with the ink, because it's just printed on an inkjet. This will protect it. It also gives it some heft. So then now I need my my fancy pantsy eyeballs, so that I now that's going to be helpful. So that I can see. I love these things, by the way. I get them off Amazon for like 17 bucks. And I'm going to use my metal straight edge, and I'm going to just kind of cut them. And that's it. I hope my big head isn't in the way. So then, let's see here. We'll do this side. Very nice. And then, now I'm just going to cut one out. And then if I need another one, I'll cut another one. Just in case I make a mistake, or it doesn't fit right, or it comes off, the glue doesn't stick. I don't know. I like having a couple, because it takes a little bit of time to download them, move them around, line them up, print them. But it takes no time at all to copy and paste it 3 times and print them all at once. There. So now we can see how I did. Oh, look, it fell right out. And let's take a look and see. All right, I'm gonna have to do a little trimming, because I got a little white on there on the bottom, which means that it's a little big, and it is in fact a little big. So that's good. That's why I have, you know, more than one, just in case. But I think this one will be fine. Just gonna cut this little white part off. I'm not quite sure how that happened, but these things happen, and we fixed it. Ah, there we go. A beautiful dashboard. You can even make out the gauges. This is fantastic. Fantastic. I need to change that blade. And then let's see what it looks like when we stick it on. Oh, it fits perfect. Fits perfect. So now we're just going to get a little crazy glue going on here. And here we go. Okay, so let's smoosh the crazy glue all around, but not too much crazy glue. Don't want to go too crazy. Don't want to have a don't want to go too crazy. Ha! See what I did there? Don't want to go too crazy with the crazy glue. All right, now let's place this bad boy in there, right where it needs to be. And for a kit that doesn't come with any decals, that's a pretty good result. And see, looking from the back, I don't see it. So that is, wow, I'm a good measurer. That is exactly, fitted exactly where it needs to be. And I'm just going to kind of push on it with this. That is stuck good. That ain't coming off. So so there's that dashboard, and it is ready to receive the steering wheel. And we can glue the steering wheel on right now. I left the steering wheel all black. I thought about doing the blue two-tone on the steering wheel as well as the seats. But I think I've got enough blue, and I didn't want there to be too much blue. So, because it isn't supposed to be, you know, blue, it's just supposed to be, you know, a little blue, a little accent. And I did a little detail on the dash. That's a very good looking, a very, I think, convincing dashboard for, you know, for something I 3D printed. This is a great kit. I can't say enough how nice a job he did on this. And there's my seats, the front seats, and then I have done the same thing to the back seats. They have a blue to them. The blue and the black looks really cool. I think it's going to go very well with the car color, everything. I think it's going to look pretty good. I have the tail lights in the car. They're in. They need to be touched up a little bit, but they are in. And so I will bring you back when in a minute. We'll get back to work on assembly. We'll finish up doing the interior. I did the mirrors with some new chrome pens I've got. Somebody was talking about these online, so I ordered them up off of Amazon, and they're just, you know, 5-pack of chrome markers, and I think all 5 of them were like $11, something like that. Mirror paint pens, permanent markers. Well, apparently somebody can't count. It says 3 count. Well, I hate to tell them there's 5 in there. There are 3 different sizes. That must be what they mean. But there's 5 of them in there. There's a fine tip, there's a chisel tip, and then there's a medium tip, like the round tip, which is very nice. The fine tip is actually very fine. That's what I used to do the headlights on this. Those 3 little tiny lines, and then the pony. I used the fine one, and that did very well. So I'll bring you back when we're doing some assembly. So you'll notice everything with these resin kits is crazy glue, and I know I've mentioned this before, but I'm going to mention it again. Model glue will not work on the resin kits. You've got to use the crazy glue. Model kit glue that works on polystyrene plastic works by melting the plastic and it forms a bond. You can't melt the resin with those glues, so the crazy glue works. And I've used crazy glue before on a lot of the Model Factory Hero kits, which have metal. So keep your crazy glue handy. So that was the interior getting glued together. Now we're going to move on, and we're going to put the exhaust tips on. Another thing you'll notice, starting with this video, is there's not going to be any music anymore. I've had a lot of feedback that the music was kind of a little bit much, and a lot of people didn't like the music, and the music is kind of a pain to source and get and include and upload, and then there's licensing issues and everything. So we're staying away from music now, and you'll just get to hear the sounds of building or sounds of me talking. So now I'm basically gluing the brakes in. I really like the setup of these wheels, because you do see through the wheels quite a lot with those small spokes. And there's a really nice, you know, brake disc representation. And I could have downloaded better brakes. I mean, the brakes that come with the kit are still very nice, very effective, very simple, and they look great. But there are some cross-drilled rotors that are available out there on the on Cults 3D or other 3D printing file sites, and I could have downloaded and scaled parts for it. But I wanted to use all the parts that came with the kit because I wanted to keep it original, and also they're quite good enough. I mean, it's a really nice brake rotor. And I like that the calipers are separate. I know I've said it several times. I really like how this thing goes together. I like how it's designed by the 3D print guy, Andre. You know, the way it's designed, the way it goes together is very cool. So as we are putting the wheels and brakes and tires together, then I'm going to set the ride height for it, and I think it came out great. Don't forget to check me out on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. I do post additional content, builds that I've got going on now, builds that I've done in the past, especially on Facebook. Facebook, I'm Angelo's Workbench. TikTok, I am at Angelo's Workbench. And Instagram, it is Angelo's Workbench. I bet you can sense the recurring theme. And I enjoy those venues as well. And I like sharing stuff that I'm working on presently. So for additional content that you might not necessarily see on YouTube, be sure to check me out on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. So to install those clear windows that I made, I like Mod Podge. It dries clear, disappears. The other thing is if you make a mistake with it, it's completely water-based. If you make a mistake with it and you get some of it somewhere that you don't really want it, you know, a little Q-tip and a little bit of water and it comes right off. Cures totally clear. I mean, it's the go-to, I think, for clear glass parts. And I always keep it in stock. So Mod Podge is good, and they're not paying me for this. I just, you know, I'm just showing you what I use. It's good stuff. And we're in this home stretch here, just gluing on the mirrors. After this video, I masked off and sprayed the black trims around the glass. I just wanted to let them cure. And then we're going to move over into the completed slideshow now. And I am so in love with the stance of it. It is such a mean looking machine. I got the ride height dialed in just the way I wanted. There is a little bit of space in those wheel wells where you can see through to the other side, and that's just because of the way it being built, the way it's curbside. There also is on the body just a little bit of the 3D printed texture still, and I just needed to sand on it some more. I have since, and am looking at right now in the background as I'm recording these voiceovers, the 1972 Ford Maverick that I did, and there is no 3D printing texture on that at all. That body came out great in a bright orange with a 2K clear. So it's a learning process. You know, I'm learning right along with you. This is my first 3D printed kit, and the first opportunity I've had to print a whole body. And hey, you know, I'm learning right along with you. And one of the things I learned is, hey, you got to sand on the body until you can't see that texture anymore. Because even if you think you're going to wet sand the clear and polish it out, the texture is a little bit much. Especially if you're using the metal flake paint, it's going to highlight that texture. So, so with the 3D printed bodies, you've got to do a little more sanding prep. But that's the price you pay for being able to build a car that is not available in kit form anywhere else. You know, they're not out there. They're probably, who knows if they'll ever get kitted. But hey, the 3D print guys, and I've said this before, they can work off of a rendering or a picture from a car show. They can make the kit, make the body, and then you're off to the races. I really enjoyed photographing this car too in the photo booth, and then here in the diorama, the garage diorama with some classic American muscle. Fits right in and looks the part. It's such a boss looking Mustang. Go ahead and click that like and subscribe button and leave me some comments, questions. I love hearing from you. Your input is important to me. And don't forget to hit that bell. Make sure you get notified when I upload new content. Also, in addition to YouTube, I am on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, all under Angelo's Workbench. Feel free to contact me there. Check me out for some additional content, and we'll see you next week.